what you're willing to forego today's pleasure for tomorrow's advantage.
You have to suffer a little bit. You have to put yourself in a state of discomfort. Growth shouldn't be easy. Stop looking for shortcuts. Stop looking to make things a breeze.
Failure, hell, disappointment, discomfort is a great learning tool. And many people don't understand that.
Don't wait for the perfect time. The perfect time will never come. You have to start now. Every person needs to be their own hero. You need to be the hero of your own story. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to help you.
We're built to walk uphill. And when you reach the pinnacle of the hill, you want to stop and appreciate the vision, but the next thing you want is a higher hill in the distance. What could you do to improve yourself? Well, let's step one step backwards. The first question might be, why should you even bother improving yourself? And I think the answer to that is something like, so you don't suffer any more stupidly than you have to. So life is brutal, and what you have to set against that is possibility. So I would say if you're 16 and your life isn't so happy, it's like, look around and see if there are opportunities that people are granting you, even imperfect opportunities, because they're going to be imperfect, that you could exploit in the proper way and learn and grow. But the fundamental lesson, the more fundamental lesson that's underneath that is, don't let what you are stop you from being what you could be. So imagine that there's you and there's the potential inside you, whatever that is, you know. And potential is an interesting idea because it represents something that isn't yet real, yet we act like it's real. And that potential is partly what you could be if you interacted with the world in a manner that would gain you the most information. Bargain with the future.
Your motto for 2024 is I will give more.
You made it! You went through all of the struggles, all of the challenges, but you made it. And here you are.
At some point, it's going to be too late. At some point, things you really want are going to be out of reach. But you're not at that point yet. There's plenty of time left, but only if you want it.
The truth is that you can defeat whatever it is that's stressing you out. You just have to stop focusing on what has already happened and start making things happen. It's time for you to be all in.
So, are you ready for more in 2024? Are you ready to show the world that you've only just got started, that the best is yet to come?
It is possible to accomplish what you see in your head. It is possible. The question is, can you give your all?
This is not the time to quit. This is not the time to go back down memory lane. You got to see your life directly in front of you. You got to trust in yourself and believe that if you made it this year, you can keep going a little bit further.
Don't wait for the perfect time. The perfect time will never come. You have to start now.
Be all in, or be somebody that leaves this earth with regrets.
If you're truly going to be all in, there are some things that you must be willing to let go of.
This is the year I give it everything I have. This is the year I stop complaining about the past. This is the year that I don't make excuses. And if I see it in my head, I can hold it in my hand.
Put the pedal to the metal, all gas, no brakes. That's your motto. That's your slogan. That's the way you live your life.
But as long as you go in with a positive mindset and a strong will, all things are possible.
Be all in, or be forgotten.
This is my year that I give everything I have.
Be productive, be strong, and from the bottom of my heart, 2024, conduct your business.
This is the year that I make an investment in myself. This is the year. This is not the year that I play around with my life. This is not the year that I sit and wait for destiny to hunt me down. I will hunt everything down that belongs to me.
You made it. You're here. The work needs to be done. Now you have to go a little bit further.
You say you want more, but are you willing to make the sacrifices required for you to get access to more? You have to have a laser focus. You have to have a no matter what attitude. You have to be willing to get up every single time you fall.
This is the year where you decide to think greater than you feel. You decide to get better than you've ever been before.
You have to start now. You're in control of your own destiny. You can be whoever you want to be. You can accomplish anything you want to accomplish. This just showing up stuff isn't going to cut it. You have to be all in.
It is possible to fully commit yourself to something. It is possible to accomplish what you see in your hand, to hold it in your hand. It is possible. The question is, can you give your all?
Don't be afraid of failure, because this is the only way to succeed. I need you to embrace the setbacks. I need you to embrace the failures. I need you to embrace the adversity, because that's what's gonna make you.
Last year, you had some setbacks. You can't dwell on it. You can't hold on to it anymore. You got to focus on right now. And you must endure. And you must push. And you must fight. And you must believe that you got what you need inside of yourself.
If you are not giving your all, are you willing to confront you? Are you willing to go hard when it looks like you aren't making any progress?
Is that what you want? To live an average life? I know you don't. So do something about it.
This is your moment to decide. Will you continue on living the life that you have lived? Or will you unlock your greatest potential?
More pain is coming. But that doesn't mean that it's over. It only means that you have to continue down that path, that journey, that year, that moment. So many individuals are gonna have to face the reality that we are all going through some significant challenges throughout our lives. But you're here.
A great life, it doesn't happen by chance, it happens by design. And the best way to design that is to just get started.
Pick yourself up and go give everything that you got, so the day can come that you have everything that you want. Don't tell me what you gonna do. Tell me you got it done. Step into your greatness.
You've got to be committed to yourself, because self-commitment is one of the most important commitments you can make. Let this be the year that you keep every commitment that you make to yourself.
Make this the year where you decide to just get better, to just get on with it.
I will give more. 2024, give more. Go all in. Be all in.
Today and every day for the rest of your life. There's no more mediocre. There's no more mid. There's no more average.
It's right before your eyes. This is the place where your hunger for change changes everything. But I am committed, willing to sacrifice everything to fulfill my destiny.
2024 is knocking on your door. All you gotta do is be prepared with the right mindset.
Be all in, or be somebody that leaves this earth with regrets.
There is a future that I desire. I believe in the power of my future. And as much as life has tried to amputate my spirit, I refuse to go down. I refuse to stop here. I refuse to let go. I refuse to give in. I refuse to keep living at 50%.
But the future is unknown. But if you prepare for it, if you're ready for it. Whatever the situations that may come your way, whatever circumstances that you must face.
But yeah, you have to deal with some bumps in the road. Yeah, you have to deal with a little bit of stress and strife. But it's worth it. But it's worth it. How bad do you want it?
You are inches away from the best life that you have ever had. I'm giving it everything I had. I'm all in. I'm all in.
Give everything you got within yourself. Give all or give nothing.
Dreaming is good. Having goals is good. But sooner or later, there comes a time when you must act.
Your mouth is not a tool for distributing excuses.
One of the worst phrases we've ever created was, "You gotta see it to believe it." It's a phrase created by cynical people with small minds that have not got any hope that things can get better. Can you imagine what the world would be like if everyone believed that this was true? We'd have no cars, no planes, no light in the dark. We'd never have computers or mobile phones. We'd never climb mountains, break records, or go to the moon. I used to believe this rubbish. Nothing can be achieved, conceived until first it's believed.
You've got to understand that at some point life is going to throw you a curveball. There's no getting around that.
If there's something that you want to do with your life, that thing deep inside you that whispers day and night, it will always just be an idea until you choose to believe it's possible. You have to believe it so much that you already think it's happened. You have to walk like it's there, talk like it's there, believe it's there.
Dreams without action, that's the path to delusion.
The only way you can mature, the only way you can turn the corner in your life is to own your smack. In other words, everything in your life is your fault. If you don't, you will underperform all your life because of these excuses.
The reason most people don't take action is simple. And the only way to overcome this,
when someone says no, I say next. Yes, I might get upset. Yes, I might be frustrated. Yes, I might be disappointed. But I'm not gonna sit there in my emotions. I'm not gonna sit there and have a pity party. I'm going to go harder. What did I say? I'm not gonna sit there and have a pity party. I am going to go harder.
I am in control of my destiny, just like I was in control of my past. Whatever happens in my life is up to me. If I succeed, I take credit. If I fail, I take credit. My life is my fault. Every morning, my friend, can you recite that to yourself? I am in control of my destiny, just like I was in control of my past. Whatever happens in my life is up to me. If I succeed, I take credit. If I fail, I take credit. My life is my fault. Stop making excuses. Get after it where you are right now and repeat after me. I am in control of my destiny.
people sit around and they focus on all the bad shit that might happen to them if they try to act, that they completely forget about what will happen if they don't. So think about it right now. Let's think of some things that might happen if you try to do the thing that you've been wanting to do for years. Okay, well, it might not work the first time. It might not be as easy as you thought.
People are gonna think you're mad. They're gonna look at you and think you're insane. They're gonna tell you shit like, it ain't possible, it's risky, you shouldn't do it, be careful, stick to what you know, stick to what you do. That. Follow your dreams. These people have to see shit to believe it, but you need to believe it to see it. Amazing things happen when you believe you have something. Your brain actively goes out to make it happen. It starts to notice little subtle opportunities that you would have otherwise deleted because it knows it's got a job to do to get you what you want.
But if you keep taking action, in spite of all this stuff that might happen, guess what? Sooner or later, you're gonna start winning. Remember, there ain't no such thing as failure, baby, only feedback. So to make yourself take action, you got to make a decision. And that decision has to be final. People take action and get shit done when they have had enough. They decide. And they say, that's it. I'm done. No more. You're either moving forward or standing still. The choice is yours. Decide.
In this social media world that we live in today, it's so easy to lose your way. I look around at so many people today and can see that they just don't know who they are. It's easy to see the life that we live in today through some Snapchat filter, to look around at everybody else and say, that's what life looks like. That life looks perfect. I want to be just like that. So they go around and start acting like other people, doing what other people do, taking a selfie in front of an expensive car, put a million filters on the picture and upload that to Instagram to tell the world, this is who I am. The problem is, behind closed doors, they know that that's not who they are. So they end up lost, wandering around in a lie that they created. And the only thing to keep the lie going is more lies, more pictures, more filters, until one day they look around and realize that they have lost themselves along the way. They have no idea who they are or could be because they've been trying for so long to be someone else. I think the greatest, most influential people in history deep down are the way they are because above everything else, they were themselves. No one else. They wasn't like someone else or even compared to anyone else. You have to follow your heart. You have to be you. You have to make your choices based on your principles and beliefs, and don't let outside forces or influences dictate your decisions. I believe it's our decisions that make us who we are, and more importantly, who we could be. So if you go through life always making your decisions based on someone else and what they might think, you'll never truly find yourself. It all comes down to how much you care about what other people think. It's a scary thing in the world we live in today to be yourself, with so much fake perfection out there on social media. But I'll tell you this, it's also the best feeling in the world when you go through life knowing you ain't what other people's made you, but yourself. It's liberating. There's freedom in it. So stop hiding and be yourself. The main reason people's outlook on the world is so negative is because of what they've been focusing on. Where focus goes, energy flows, baby. And I'll tell you this, if you spend all your time focusing on all the problems in the world and all the problems in your life, you ain't going to be happy. It's easy in the world that we live in today to be consumed by all the media-filled negativity in the world. You can't turn on the TV without seeing some negative story, all the bad. Everyone has problems. Everyone has shit going on in their life. The difference between the people who are happy and the people that ain't is that the people that are happy choose to focus on the solutions to the problems they face rather than the problems themselves. You always have a choice. You can decide to focus on the shit or decide to look for the solution. It's all about perspective. Constantly tell yourself how much worse things could be, and you can actually be thankful for the way you've got things at the moment. Your world and your life can truly be anything you make it, but you've got to make it. This ain't some motivational, inspirational bullshit. This is the truth. You can be who you want to be. You can do what you want to do, see what you want to see. It's all in your power and no one else's, but you got to believe it. You can either be a victim of your life or the master of it, but the choice is always yours. What's your excuse today? You don't have enough time? You don't have enough energy? You don't have enough money? Are you too tired? You didn't get enough sleep? Is that what's really stopping you? Or is what's stopping you, you? All these excuses only sound good to one person, and that's you. Stop lying to yourself. Stop making excuses for why you can't do it. No one gives a fuck. Get off your ass and get to work. You want to take a look at other people and what they got and get jealous and say that they've only got this because of this and that, or it's easy for them because they've got this and that? Wake your ass up. It's go time, baby. It's time to stop making your excuses. It's time to start taking advantage of the world we live in today and all the opportunities that are staring you in the fucking face. You do have the time. You do have the money. You do have the energy. You just need to decide. Decide that you want it bad enough and admit the truth, which is nothing in this world is free. Nothing is easy. Anything worth having is hard to get. Admit that you can have anything you want, but it's going to be hard work. Admit that you are the only reason that you are where you are, and you are the only reason that you ain't where you want to be. Admit it. Take responsibility and accept it. Because until you do, until you stop making your bullshit excuses, you will never get what you want. Now is the time. Now is your moment. Not tomorrow, not next week, but right here, right now. Stop making excuses and start making some changes.
Discipline is the single most important thing that you can use when it comes to being successful.
They want an easier answer. There has to be an easier way. There's not. I'm sorry. I searched for it my entire life.
Motivation is fleeting. No one wakes up motivated every single day. The key to success that you're looking for, the thing that's going to make your dreams come true, is simple discipline. Every person needs to be their own hero. You need to be the hero of your own story. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to help you.
And so I would copy the comic books and the heroes, and they had muscles, and I was like, one day I'm gonna be like that.
You have to suffer a little bit. You have to put yourself in a state of discomfort. Growth shouldn't be easy. Stop looking for shortcuts. Stop looking to make things a breeze.
We're built to walk uphill. And when you reach the pinnacle of the hill, you want to stop and appreciate the vision, but the next thing you want is a higher hill in the distance.
You've got to learn to suffer. You've got to put yourself in a bit of an uncomfortable position. And if you can do that, then the results that have eluded you, you'll start to see them. There's no such thing as a free lunch. There's no magic pill. And there are no 3 easy payments of $9.99. If you want something, if you want to be good at something, you want to accomplish something, you've got to put in the time.
Because without that work ethic, greatness cannot be achieved. So you've got to really love what you're doing. You have to just go at it wholeheartedly. You've got to put everything into it. You've got to obsess over it.
If you want to be good at something, you've got to do it every day. Like we look at people like LeBron James. Why is he good at basketball? Because he does it every day. You look at Wayne Gretzky in hockey, because he did it every day. And so my number one piece of advice to people, if you want to be good at something, whatever that thing that you desire is, whatever your passion is, do it every single day. That's the real secret to success.
From 22 to 34, I worked every day. I went out no weekends, I worked every day. And if you want it, you want it. I wanted it.
So this idea of doing something every single day, just do the thing every day and be 100% present. Focus on the process. Don't focus on the end result. Again, if you show up, if you're all in and do that day after day after day, rewards will come. Don't let your emotions control your actions, or don't let your feelings control your actions. Rather, let your actions control your feelings. And so, it's okay to feel bad. It's okay to be depressed. It's okay to be sad. But don't act bad. Don't act depressed. Don't act sad. Do something about it.
Failure, hell, disappointment, discomfort is a great learning tool. And many people don't understand that, but it's these few moments in life that you have. Like for me, I always talk about it. Rocky 1, round 14. That 1 2-minute and 13-second clip of Rocky getting up when Apollo knocked him down. That one clip, when I was going through a very bad time in my life, I saw what I wanted to be. And it wasn't a guy that won. It wasn't a guy that won everything he did. It was a guy that kept getting up after being knocked down.
On those days where you don't want to get out of bed, get out of bed. Go for a walk. Nourish yourself. Do some exercise. Spend some time in the sun. And it's amazing how those negative feelings turn around. So again, Don't let your feelings dictate your actions. Let your actions dictate your feelings. When we're young, we think things are just going to fall into our lap. We think opportunities are going to be there forever. We think that it's going to be our turn. But the reality is, you need to work hard for it, and you need to work hard for a really, really long time.
When I realized that I can learn through hard work, and I can beat the valedictorian in school, but I got put in 10 hours more a day than he does. You know what kind of strength comes from that? When you're sitting down, that guy, that valedictorian studied for an hour, and you know, I caught you, and I am dumb. But I have the work ethic to catch you. Having a discipline every day to say, for me to learn this one math problem, it's gonna take me 10 hours.
Wow. So don't lose faith. Don't get down on yourself. Don't get depressed. Don't get sad. If you show up, if you be the hardest worker in the room, and you do it for long enough, and I'm not talking even months or years, I'm talking decades, I promise you that your time will come. The second rule, be all in. When you're here, when you're in a physical space, when you're working out, I don't want your eyes on the TV. I don't want you text messaging. I don't want you playing on social media. I want you to be 100% present. I want you to be all in and get the most out of your time.
Where I got my work ethic from was the hours I had to spend learning this.
I always tell people there's 168 hours in a week. If you get 8 hours sleep a night, well, there's 50 plus hours gone. You still have 110, 112 hours left. If you work 60 hours a week, you still have 55 hours left to go do what's important to you. So I don't really buy the time excuse, but that's the number one excuse that I hear. The number two excuse is I don't know how. But we're fortunate, like people rip on social media, but we're fortunate to live in a day and age where with the click of a button, you have access to a wealth of information. Whatever it is you're interested in, it doesn't matter. You can find some good quality information with the click of a button. So the whole I don't know how, that's not an excuse either. And those are the two most common ones. What it really comes down to is people just don't want it bad enough. Because I've seen countless examples of people that will say they don't have time, that say they don't know how, but when something becomes important enough for them, they figure it out.
Because at the end of it all, if you can sit back and wait, if you can wait 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 years, when you get to that point when you finish, that's the feeling for 12 years. Let's say they wait 12 years to get there. That's what keeps you going, is you gotta feel, I'm doing it for 1 second.
Years of pain.
For 1 second.
Every minute matters. 5 minutes is better than no minutes. 10 minutes is better than 5 minutes. 15 minutes is better than 10 minutes, and so on. And so every bit of work that you can do will get you closer to your goal. Don't give up. If you want something, if you're willing to work for it, if you're willing to put in an honest effort, if you're willing to show up every day and you're willing to be all in, I promise you again, it might not be tomorrow. It might not be next week. It might not even be next year. But I promise you 100% your time will come and good things will happen. And far too many of us give up before we see the reward. We give up too early. And if we just had a little bit of perseverance, if we just worked a little bit harder and just took it a day at a time, our dreams would come true. So that would be my advice. Don't give up.
I don't know if I would kill people, but I would have gone to jail for a long time for Facebook. And that was everyone who was there. So yeah, we were willing to kill for what we were doing. You know, we're not Navy SEALs. We're a bunch of tech nerds, you know, that can barely do nothing. And there's a lot of crazy stuff around it. But really, I would say what was most shocking is just how convicted we were about what we were working on.
Hustle is putting it all on the line. Hustle is waking up one day, the day before you die, and realizing you gave it your all into the parenting of your children, the building of your businesses, the philanthropy that you wanted to do. Whatever you define, it's just all in, emotionally and executionally, in theory and strategy and in execution.
Oftentimes, the person who stops you from running the marathon is nobody else but you. If you want to start a business, the person who's stopping you is nobody else but you. If you decide to run the marathon, somebody's gonna have an opinion of you.
But like, sometimes you have to let other people's dreams for your life die for yours to live. And for me, it was like when I continued to every day not want to wake up, that was my wake up call, where I was like, either I continue to live this way, or I just risk the fact that I'll die to everybody else. And I think that like, it was the hardest decision of my entire life, by far.
I do believe there's a misconception, and something that most people get wrong, is that you can't do what you enjoy or passion or dream about and make a lot of money doing it. I don't believe that.
To me, hustle is maximizing the energy you're putting into somebody. I'm blown away by people saying that they're hustling and they want to achieve these great things and then their actions don't match. It's like saying you really want to lose weight while eating a Big Mac, right? So to me, hustle would be putting all your effort into achieving the goal at hand. And for me, that means making every minute count.
One of the biggest breakthroughs for people is just getting started, because Zuckerberg really has done one thing. He started Facebook. But all these people, specifically Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett, all these people really just did one thing. But everyone who has day jobs is like, I'm gonna create 4 passive income streams, and I'm gonna do 50. I'm like, well, that's cool, but what the crumbs of the most successful people on the planet are just doing one thing. So I'm gonna probably go over there and copy them.
And successful people are about that. They are good decision makers. They are hyper resilient. They don't stop at failure. They don't get in their own way from an ego perspective. They're looking nakedly at their own inadequacies. And they've got enough confidence to get people going behind them. I know about myself. I will keep going until I figure this out. Not that I already understand everything, that I have the courage to figure this out.
But I think people don't swing enough. They don't even get started swinging, and that's, they're not ready on the sidelines. And there's never a good time. The best time is right now. It's not yesterday because that passed. It's not tomorrow because you don't know. It's right now.
Who I am now as a risk taker is so different than who I was when I began. And the way that you strengthen that risk muscle is by taking risks.
You like your current state enough that you like the pain of change thing, right? Like, you're not in enough pain. I've said that to plenty of people. We go speak and someone's like, how do I get motivated? I'm like, you're not going to get motivated. Like, you have to hate. For me, I automatically go there. I'm like, you have to hate something. Like, for me, I just hated my current existence. And so for me, that was powerful enough to get me out.
So if you can manage your emotions, if you've got the courage to fight through that storm, if you're not easy to knock off your pedestal, and you're humble enough to know that you're almost certainly making mistakes so that you know when to correct course, that's the recipe.
How are you solving the goal and the problems and the priorities with the resources that are available? Most people sit and they complain, like, oh, I don't have this. Like, there's a lot of people, I'm not getting paid enough. Well, what are you doing about it? Did you put together a proposal? Did you go look at comparison analysis? Did you go create more revenue so it's obvious that people should pay you more? That's probably about the 98%. 2%, like Sean and others at our team, are saying, here's all the money I made for the company. Here's comparables. Here's the salary you should pay me, and you're lucky to pay me this because it's so less than I'm generating from the business. And let's do it in this time frame. It's resourceful. It's figuring it out.
We stop ourselves when what we need to say is, not everyone will be for us or about us. Do you accept the terms of that? And if you say yes, then do the dang thing and do it to the best of your ability.
And then that's going to put you in a far more powerful position to move forward. So the people that are successful, they can self-soothe, they can stay emotionally calm in the midst of a storm. When everybody else is panicking, they're only looking at solutions.
You hear all these, like, I'd say fake entrepreneurs or fake coaches. They don't actually have any real businesses. They're like, you got a 10x today and you got a 5x. If you're not 5x, then you're failing. And I was like, I've done that, but it's also interesting. What if our goals now for AppSumo.com is to grow 10% next year? And it's been that for quite a lot of time. And the reality is when you set less ambitious goals for yourself, you can stick with them for longer because you're not burnt out, you're not tired. You can sustain. And then by having less ambitious goals, you also have creative freedom because you're not stressed about hitting a target. And that gives you the ability to create 10x opportunities because you're like, okay, cool, I'm not worried about making money in that, but I can go do things that potentially, be moonshots and really drive the company for the future.
Like manifesting, like dreaming it into reality. I believe that. I believe that you can't create what you have not thought or dreamt of. But the biggest gap in the misnomer is that it should, in my opinion, always be supplemented and counterbalanced by that's just the first step. Manifestation alone doesn't bring out results. It's the manifestation and then the actions combined that will help you meet your aspirations, because your actions must map your aspirations. I believe that manifestation is the key component. It is the impetus. It's the thing that gets us started. But then people are just like, well, I'm dreaming and it's just not happening for me. I'm like, no. It does not happen for you. You must happen to it. And so the misnomer is that like you dream it up and it will happen. I'm like, no. You dream it up and then you work like hell to make it happen and it will happen.
A lot of the interesting thing about success is that it's always externalized, right? It's like that person is an icon, that thing is successful, they're doing well. And I really think it's like, when do we finally feel like we're doing what we think our potential is? And that is our own icon, our own legendary status. And I would say around 40 is when I finally felt more internal validation and I stopped focusing on so much of the external validation. Like, how much money do I have? Do I have more than that guy or girl? Did I get more views on this video? Did I do the things externally wanting versus like, am I doing really what I want? And am I proud of the hard work that I'm doing for myself? And around 40, I would say I'm really proud of what I've been able to do. I've done a lot of things, man. I've been swinging for a long time, and that's something that's available to everyone. And I do think that's missed out on, that there's a lot of ordinary people being rich and being successful, and people think it's an exclusive club. And that's just not true. I felt like I've done a lot of things that have helped enough people and impact enough people, and I was really just proud of myself. And so whether I had 1 million subscribers on YouTube or 100,000, it really wasn't as different as me just being proud of what we're putting out that's inspiring people in business. I'm truly just proud of our content. I'm my #1 fan these days.
How can we make sure that we have great morning routines to support us so that we don't have brain fog at all in the morning or later in the afternoon?
I'll describe it as my routine. I generally get up somewhere between 5:30 and 7 in the morning, depending on when I went to sleep. I'm not super regular about when I go to sleep, but generally that's between 10:30 and midnight.
Yep.
I try and avoid that midnight hour, but happens. So I get up. Obviously, I use the restroom. I drink some water. I do think that hydrating is very important.
Yes.
So I'll drink some water, and then the fundamental layer of health is to set your circadian rhythm. The simplest way to do that is to go outside for 10 minutes and get some bright light in your eyes. People always ask, what if you wake up before the sun rises? Well, simple rule, if you want to be awake, turn on as many bright lights in your house as possible, but then when the sun comes out, get outside and see some sunlight. You do not have to look directly into the sun, but you do want to get outside out of shade cover if you can. Don't wear sunglasses if you can do that safely. Don't try and do this through a window. Don't try and negotiate with me on this point. People
Go
are like,
outside.
what about a window? Well, the filtration of the important wavelengths of light through the window is just too high, and so it would take hours for you to set your circadian clock that way. You want to do this because once every 24 hours, you're going to get a peak in cortisol, which is a healthy peak. You want that peak to happen early in the day because it sets up alertness for the remainder of the day. I would say this is the fundamental step of any good morning. And if you don't do this enough, you are messing yourself up in a number of ways. After waking up to get bright light in your eyes, you are setting yourself up for a complicated sleep-wake cycle that leads to a lot of what we call insomnia. When we talk about all these things like the gut and the skin, etc., it's tempting to say, oh, it's sunlight on the skin. No, it's actually only can be signaled through the eyes because the clock lives deep in the brain, that master clock, and you need the signal to get to that master clock. Every cell in your body has a 24-hour clock. All those clocks need to be aligned to the same time. So imagine a clock shop with lots of different clocks, and you don't want them alarming off at different times. This sunlight viewing or bright light viewing early in the day, I would say within 30 to 60 minutes of waking up for about 10 minutes, or if it's very cloudy, maybe 30 minutes or so, that activates a particular type of neuron in the eye called the intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cell. If people want to look that up, signals to the circadian clock, which is right above the roof of your mouth, but that is the master circadian clock that then releases a bunch of signals into your body. This all happens very fast, and every cell in your body gets tuned to the exact same time reference point. so that your system can work as a nice concert of cells as opposed to out of whack. There are a lot of sources of brain fog. The most obvious one would be a poor night's sleep.
Okay.
And sleep, of course, being the most fundamental layer of mental and physical health. You don't sleep well for one night, you're probably okay. For 2 nights, you start to fall apart. 3, 4 nights, you're really a degraded version of yourself in every aspect. Emotionality is off, ability to do most anything is off, hormones start suffering. So sleep is fundamental. But assuming that you slept well, there are a number of things. One is your breathing patterns. We often get into discussions of breathing, but this is a slightly different one than we've had in the past. You know, a lot of people have sleep apnea. They are not getting enough oxygen during their sleep, or they are mouth breathing during sleep. These days, it's become popular in some circles to take a little bit of medical tape and tape the mouth shut, and to learn to be a nasal breather. And there is excellent evidence now that being a nasal breather most of the time, as long as you're not speaking or eating or exercising hard enough that you would need to breathe through your mouth, that it's beneficial to be a nasal breather. So you wake up in the morning, you slept your normal 6 to 8 hours, but you're feeling kind of groggy and out of it. And of course, there could be other reasons that you're experiencing brain fog. Maybe, you know, for people that drink alcohol the night before, maybe they had alcohol. For people that maybe they ate a meal that was too large before sleep, maybe any number of reasons, right?
Gotcha.
But getting adequate oxygenation of the brain during sleep is key. So learn to be a nasal breather. And for those of you out there that say, well, I have a deviated septum, a lot of people think they have deviated septums. The problem is they're not nasal breathing enough. The sinuses actually can learn to dilate if you nasal breathe. Exercising while nasal breathing, it will kind of depend on the sport. Like if you box, oftentimes there's the need to do a shh, or, you know, kind of like exhale on impact type thing. So I don't think anyone should tamper with their normal breathing patterns as it relates to sport or singing or some, you know, activity. But what I'm talking about is when you're just standing around, when you're walking down the street, any low-level activity, you're working at your desk, you should be nasal breathing and breathing regularly. There are really nice studies done by my colleagues in Stanford Psychiatry and Biology Department showing that if that cortisol peak starts to drift too late in the day, you start seeing signs of depression. It's actually a well-known marker of depression. So you want that cortisol, almost stressed out, kind of the day's beginning, I have a lot to do feeling. That's a healthy thing. You want that happening early in the day. The sunlight will wake you up. And what's really cool is that over time, you'll start to notice the sunlight waking you up more and more. The system becomes tuned up. If you miss a day, it's not the end of the world because it's a, as we call it, slow integrating system, but don't miss more than one day. And if you live in an area where it's very cloudy outside, just know that the sunlight, the photons coming through that cloud cover are brighter than your brightest indoor lights. Now, if you live in a very dark region of the world, or it's unsafe or purely impractical to get outside in the morning, then it might make sense to get a sunrise simulator or one of these lights, but they tend to be very expensive. What I recommend people use instead is just a ring light, a ring blue light. This is a case where you can blast your system. So get that morning light. It sets a number of things in motion, such as your melatonin rhythm to happen 16 hours later to help you fall asleep. I would say this is the fundamental step of any good morning. And if you don't do this enough, you are messing yourself up in a number of ways. Your liver has a clock, your heart cells have a clock, every skin cell has a clock. And for those that are not incentivized enough by the cortisol stuff and all the other things, actually, the replenishment of stem cells in the skin, hair, and nails is activated by the system. So hair grows more readily, skin turns over, and nails grow more quickly because you have stem cells, literally cells that release more cells that become new hair cells, or new skin cells, and new cells that make up the nails. So skin, hair, and nails also benefit, and it has to be light exposure to the eyes. When we talk about all these things like the gut and the skin, etc., it's tempting to say, oh, it's sunlight on the skin. No, it's actually only can be signaled through the eyes because the clock lives deep in the brain, that master clock, and you need the signal to get to that master clock.
What could you do to improve yourself? Well, let's step one step backwards. The first question might be, why should you even bother improving yourself? And I think the answer to that is something like, so you don't suffer any more stupidly than you have to. Accept responsibility for the catastrophe of your life, and that way you transcend it. And there's an unbelievably hopeful message in there. And the message is, you're actually strong enough to do that. You just don't know it. And you won't find out till you do it. You can't find out till you do it. But if you did it, you'd find out that it was true. Bargain with the future. Wow, that's just, what an idea that is. You know, it's so unlikely. It's a massive risk. It's the ultimate in risks, right? You have to be willing to lose your life in order to find it. What you're willing to forego today's pleasure for tomorrow's advantage. And that's what sacrifice is. And I would say, start where you can start. You know, if something announces itself to you as in need of repair, that you could repair, then hey, fix it. You fix 100 things like that, your life will be a lot different. If I wanted to spend 10 minutes making this room better, what would I have to do? And you have to ask yourself that, right? It's not a command, it's like a genuine question. And things will pop out in the room that you know, there's a stack of papers over there that's kind of bugging you, and you know that maybe little order there would be a good thing. There's some rubbish behind your computer monitor that you haven't attended to for like 6 months, and the room would be slightly better if it was a little less dusty and the cables weren't all tangled up the same way. And if you allow yourself just to consider the expanse in which you exist at that moment, there'll be all sorts of things that'll pop out in it that you could just fix.
So life is brutal, and what you have to set against that is possibility. So I would say if you're 16 and your life isn't so happy, it's like look around and see if there are opportunities that people are granting you, even imperfect opportunities, because they're going to be imperfect, that you could exploit in the proper way and learn and grow. But the fundamental lesson, the more fundamental lesson that's underneath that is don't let what you are stop you from being what you could be. So imagine that there's you and there's the potential inside you, whatever that is, you know. And potential is an interesting idea because it represents something that isn't yet real, yet we act like it's real. And that potential is partly what you could be if you interacted with the world in a manner that would gain you the most information. If you take yourself and you put yourself in a new environment, new genes turn on in your nervous system. They encode for new proteins. And so you're full of biological potential that won't be realized unless you move yourself around in the world into different challenging circumstances, and that'll turn on different circuits. Now, I often tell people too, fix the things you repeat every day, because people tend to think of those as trivial. You get up, you brush your teeth, you have your breakfast, you know, you have your routines that you go through every day. Well, those probably constitute 50% of your life. And people think, well, they're mundane, I don't need to pay attention to them. It's like, no, that's exactly wrong. The things you do every day, those are the most important things you do. Hands down. All you have to do is do the arithmetic. You figure it out right away. So 100 adjustments to your broader domain of being, and there's a lot less rubbish around and a lot fewer traps for you to step into. Once you've got your mind and your emotions together, and once you're acting that out, then you can extend what you're willing to consider yourself and start fixing up the things that are part of your broader extent. While you're experiencing things announce themselves as in need of repair, doesn't mean that it's you right then and there that should repair them. You have to have some humility. You don't walk up to a helicopter that isn't working and just start tinkering away with it. You have to stay within your domain of competence. But most of the time, if people look at their lives, it's a very interesting thing to do. I like the idea of the room because you can do that at the drop of a hat. You know, you go back to where you live and sit down and think, okay, I'm going to make this place better for half an hour. What should I do? You have to ask, and things will just pop up like mad. And it's partly because your mind is a very strange thing. As soon as you give it an aim, a genuine aim, it'll reconfigure the world in keeping with that aim. That's actually how you see to begin with. And so if you set it a task, especially, you have to be genuine about it, which is why you have to bring your thoughts and emotions together, and then you have to get them in your body so you're acting consistently. You have to be genuine about the aim. But once you aim, the world will reconfigure itself around that aim, which is very strange. And it's technically true.
And so I think that you can, in fact, decide to take on the load that's optimally meaningful if you want, and then you get to have your cake and eat it too. You're on the pathway to continual incremental improvement. You only have to burn off a feather at a time instead of having the whole bloody thing burst into flames. It's a constant source of renewal. And there's an idea that to be renewed, you have to drink the water of life. That's an old mythological idea. Chaos is water. Water is chaos. Water is what washes away too much order. And to stay continually refreshed by the water of life is to take on exactly the right amount of chaos to make sure that your garden is properly nourished. And I think meaning is actually the marker of that. You don't choose your interests, they choose you. And that's really worth thinking about too, man, because, you know, it's really hard to get interested in something you're not interested in, even if you know there's a good reason for it. You know, you're studying for an exam, you find the material boring, anything will be more interesting than the studying, even though you know that that's what you need to do. You can't voluntarily grab yourself by the scruff of the neck, let's say, and shake yourself and say, sit down and concentrate. Your mind will just go everywhere. But then if you're interested in something, and even if it's something you shouldn't be interested in, because that happens all the time, then it's like you're a laser focused, man. You can pay attention forever. You can work until you're exhausted. You won't even notice it, and you remember everything. It's like, okay, if you can't control your interest, what does? Your interest was being manipulated behind the scenes by unseen forces that were associated with your characterological development across time. That was the manifestation of the self. So the self is the potential you, let's say. And the way it operates in the present is by gripping your interest and directing it somewhere. And that's part of the instinct of self-realization. It's a mind-boggling idea, man, really. It's the potential that you are has to manifest itself somehow in the here and now. It has to. And what better way than by directing your attention? You know, it's like it seems like this might be useful for you, or maybe you get attracted to this person. Maybe you admire this person. That happens with kids a lot. They'll admire someone and then copy them. And you can see that that's obviously part of their developmental progression, right? It's a form of hero worship, but kids are very imitative and they hero worship at the drop of a hat. And so they're entranced by the next stage of development. And if they see someone who embodies that, especially if it's in the zone of proximal development, it's something they could achieve, stretching a bit. They find someone who embodies that next stage of development, and then they start to imitate them and act like them. Well, adults are no different. We're no different. We do it at a perhaps more abstract and sophisticated level.
Listen to me, I'm allergic. Are you hearing me? I'm allergic to average. And the problem with a lot of you is you're not allergic to average, all right? You gotta do me a huge favor, man. You lying to yourself. On one point, you said you wanna be great. You wanna do great things. You want to have greatness. You want to be great. But on the other hand, for real, you comfortable with average. And I told you, listen to me, I don't care what side of the railroad track you were born on. I don't care if you were fluent. I don't care if you privileged. I don't care if you grew up in poverty, with the father, without a father, with a mom, without adopted. I don't care. Listen to me. The reason why I'm telling you that I'm allergic to average is not personal. ET is allergic to it because success is allergic to average. Success and average don't have nothing to do with each other.
Talk is cheap. So you can say that you're allergic to average, but are your actions backing it up? You gotta show the world that you mean business. You gotta show the world that you come to take action. See greats like you jump over hurdles, run through barriers, but never ever stop grinding to win.
You can't say there's certain dreams and goals, there are things you want to have and things you want to be if you are still average. You got to get to the point where you get allergic to average. You don't think average, you don't perform average. Success and average have absolutely nothing to do with each other. That's what I'm telling you. Your boss can't stand average. Your coach can't stand average. Your teacher can't stand average. Your mama might put up with it. Your daddy might put up with it. But listen to me very closely. Nobody really likes average because average attracts average.
You can't help it that you suffer from ambition. You can't help it that you suffer from trying to be great. You can't help it that you suffer for trying to go to the next plateau. You can't help it. But that's not you. You have dreams, you have goals, you have aspirations, you have desires. And you are taking action to make all of your dreams a reality. That every fiber of your being, every fiber of your existence wants to win. You can't help it that you suffer from a severe case of aspiration, purpose, and dream chasing. That's the exact reason why you keep racing, because you're trying to catch up to your dreams. Because they won't do it. That has absolutely nothing to do with you. Some people have a problem for every solution. Some people don't believe that they can achieve at a high level. Some people are okay doing what normal people do, doing what average people do, doing just enough to get by. They gotta go, because now it's back to the grind, because now it's back to the shine, because now it's back to getting after it, now it's back to going all in for what you said you wanted.
I need you to speak it one time. One time, that's it. I need you to say it one time. I need you to get it out in the atmosphere. I need you to say it so you can hold yourself accountable to what you said. Tell a friend so they can hold you accountable. But after you say it once, shut your mouth, go into the lab and get to work. Are you hearing me? Shut your mouth. Shut up. You didn't hear me say a million times I was going to speak for the NFL, but I'm in the NFL. You didn't hear me say a million times I was going to Australia. You heard me say it once, then I went in the lab and I got to work. Let me tell you something very carefully, because I'm tired of people calling me. I'm tired of people emailing me. I'm tired of people texting me and saying, E.T., it's not working, E.T. I'm grinding, E.T. I'm hustling. E.T. is not working. Listen to me very carefully. You reap what you sow. Don't get it twisted. You reap what you sow. Now, if you don't see what you think you should see, understand that to grow a bush and to grow a tree, it take a little bit more time, boo. So yeah, you've been studying for 3 months. And yeah, you've been grinding for 1 year. And yeah, you've been hustling for 2 years now, and you're not seeing what you, but guess what? I told you before, you've been doing it for 2 years, but what were you doing the other 30 years? What were you doing the other 21 years? So it's gonna take time. But listen to me very closely. If you would get yourself in the lab, say it, write it down, look at it, but get in the lab, number one, and start working on it.
When you have an extraordinary mindset, you are determined to make the impossible possible. You are determined to make the unbelievable believable. You are determined to do more each and every day than that average person will do in a whole week. You are determined to do more in a week than an average person does in a month. You are determined to do more in a month than an average person does in a whole year.
Some of y'all, you lying to yourself. You say you want to be great. You say you want to get to the next level. You say you want to be dominant on that field. You say you want to go to the Final Four. You say you want to be a national champion. Listen to me. You say you want a promotion. You say you want to start your own business. But listen to me very closely. You talk too much. Shut up, get in the lab, and let's go to work. Go to work and do your work. Listen to me. Don't just go to work when you feel like it. Go to work every single day. Work on it every day.
I need you to put yourself in a position to shine. I need you to put yourself in a position to climb. I need you to put yourself in a position to redesign. I need you to put yourself in a position to redefine. And I need you to put yourself in a position to realign your alliance. If the people in your circle are average, we don't do average. We won't do average. I need you to have a CEO mindset. Champion energy only. You set them standards and you make each and every person that you come in contact with rise up to your standards. Do not drop down to their level. And that wasn't an average thing. See, average people get average results. But great people get great results when they take the necessary actions. I want you to picture this. Imagine trying to climb up a steep hill with somebody on your back. That's exactly what it is when you allow that average mindset to attack you. You trying to go up but you have this negative energy trying to pull you back down. Will you please stop trying to mix phenomenal energy with average energy? It doesn't work. You are allergic to average.
Listen to me. Don't keep calling me and telling me you're going to get on the dean's list. Do me a favor. Don't tell me you're going to be on the honor roll. Shut up. Go to work and show me.
Average people don't understand that. So when you tell them your come-up goals, they're going to tell you exactly why they can't be achieved. Well, I tried that before. It didn't work for me. My cousin tried that before. It didn't work for him. What does that got to do with you? But whatever you do not let that average enter into your system. This is a great day to win.
We all have those moments when we want to quit, when we want to throw in the towel, where we don't see the end game and the target is not clear. And we want to travel down the road of least resistance because it's in our nature to be attracted to what is convenient, what is familiar, what is ordinary. But if you're listening to me, then you're already walking in a competitive advantage because you have a hunger and you have a desire to listen to something that's going to personally develop you and get you to a place that you've never been. And so if you can hear my voice, it's time to stretch. It's time to press. It's your time, it's your turn to reach higher, to leap farther, to run faster, to try again.
I need you to bottle that up because it's that feeling right there that's going to move you when you don't feel like moving. It's that feeling right there that's gonna get you up when you don't feel like getting up. I need you to do yourself a huge favor and adopt the mindset that you are going to get 1% better each and every day. And don't stop until you're proud of yourself. And don't stop until your mama is proud of you. And don't stop until your daddy is proud of you. And don't stop until your professor is proud of you. And everybody in their family is proud of you.
Someday, at some point in your life, you're going to be able to look back and say, man, I'm so glad I didn't quit.
1% better every day. Let 1% turn into 2%, 2% turn into 3%, 4% turn into 5%, 5% turn into 10%, 10% turn into 20%, and you keep going and going and going and let that compound and watch. You will have a billionaire's mindset. You will live like others can't live. You'll be able to do what others can't do.
Somebody somewhere believes in you, even if they're not close to you. Somebody is rooting for you to keep going. Somebody is hoping that you don't quit. They are believing that you will be the difference maker, the game changer in your family. You don't have what it takes. There is more left in your tank. Your future is worth fighting for. The moves that you are making are going to impact the lives of so many people that are depending on you to continue. So you got this. You can't quit.
We think the results are the thing that needs to change, but it's actually the process behind the results. Like, what is the difference between eating a burger and fries for lunch or eating a salad? Not a whole lot on any given day. Your body looks basically the same in the mirror. The scale hasn't really changed. It's really easy to dismiss it in your mind and say, oh, this is kind of insignificant. But, you know, you turn around 2 or 5 or 10 years later and you realize, oh wow, those daily choices really did add up. It's just much harder to see on a granular basis. The cost of your good habits is in the present, and the cost of your bad habits is in the future. And the fact that we prioritize the present over the future ends up making a lot of habit change difficult for that reason.
Maybe you can make an adjustment. Sometimes we got to make adjustments. Sometimes we need to rest, recover, and recharge so we can try again.
Success isn't overnight. It's when every day you get just a little bit better. than you were the day before. I promise. No. I guarantee. All of the wins add up. And that adds up to you living the life of your dreams. That adds up to you arriving at your desired destination of next level greatness.
Keep striving. We've got to get into this pace of grace where we are pacing ourselves and we're honoring our journey and we're honoring the people that have been planted in our lives. We're taking a scrupulous investigative approach to our friends and our places and our acquaintances and our associates and our collaborations and everything that we're listening to and everywhere we are going and what we are building. And let me tell you something you already know. There are enough people who have not believed in you. There are enough people who have walked away from you. There are enough people who told you you don't have what it takes. You don't measure up. You will not finish. Don't be the weapon that is formed against you. There are enough people that are counting you out. There are enough people that are saying you can't finish. Do not join them. It doesn't matter how broken, how weary and devastated you are right now. That pain will not last forever. At some point, it will subside. And when it does, discipline, resilience, fire, passion, power will take its place. So keep going because it's all worth it.
You are strong enough to shut down those negative voices each and every time they attack you. You are strong enough to shut down that negative thought process each and every time it attacks you. So the question is, how do you eat an elephant? And the answer is, one bite at a time. So the question is, how do you win in your game of life? And the answer is 1% better each and every day. You just gotta keep compounding those wins to get busy living while so many others made the choice to get busy giving up. That's exactly why they can't live up to your standards. You set your bar high, and if anybody wants to be on your level, you don't reach down and grab them. You make them climb up and meet you. Your mindset is elevation. Your mindset is graduation. Your mindset is high plateau. Your mindset is next level living. And that means you're giving every ounce of your soul 1% better each and every day.
So don't make a decision today that you will regret in a year or two. Don't be fooled by the way things appear. The truth is that even when it feels like nothing is happening, the seeds that you've sown over the last few years are still working for you. All of the sacrifices that you made up until this point are not in vain. So this is not the time to focus on what you don't have, what you do have.
See, the victory mindset surrounds itself with good energy and wins the daily personal battles and never lets itself become its own worst enemy. Sometimes it's us that stops us from going to the next level. Sometimes it's you that stops you from going to the next level. See, you get to choose. Because your mindset was set to refuse to lose. Your mindset was, I will win. Your mindset was 1% better each and every day. And don't stop until I'm proud. Don't stop until my family's proud. Don't stop until I'm generating generational wealth. Don't stop until everybody around me is winning. See, the resilient mindset never gives in or concedes. It makes the necessary adjustments and then executes the new plan until it succeeds. I just need you to celebrate the small wins along the way. Always strive to be better. Go all in every day and be better than you were yesterday. And if that's your mission, if that's your mindset, if that's your mantra, you can't help but dominate each and every day of your life. I get it. There will be moments when the spirit ain't moving you. There will be moments when the spirit ain't lifting you. There will be moments when you simply don't feel like doing what you know you need to do. But that's when you rewind this back and go back about 3 minutes ago. Because you got something bottled up. Because you've done this before. And I need you to open that top on that bottle and pop that pill of greatness and do it anyway.
I know you're tired. I know you're ready to quit. I know what it feels like to be exasperated and so beat down that you can't even see the light at the end of the tunnel anymore. And if it showed up, you would ignore it. I know what that feels like. But if you get blessed to see another day, then you better scorch the earth with that beautiful light. It is in our nature to be very disempowering, pessimistic, negative people. I need you to wake up in this new day, in this moment, and seize the opportunity. You are alive for a reason in the end. If you're going to be fully persuaded about anything, persuade yourself to keep going. And the more that you influence you will influence the world. So keep going until you have won some small victory for humanity.
The lifestyle you want is within reach. You just have to commit to being committed. You've got to decide that nothing will stop you, not even your doubts or your fears. The discomfort is temporary, but the skills, the knowledge, and the habits that you are developing right now will continue to pay off.
You got a choice to make, my friend. Survival mode or thrival mode. It all starts with the mindset. It all starts with the grind set. It all starts with you just simply saying, I'm gonna be better than I was yesterday. It all starts with you simply saying 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%. You keep counting each and every day and celebrate the small wins along the way. They wanna see you lose. I wanna see you win. What do you want though?